Gary Suchowski here, and I'm here with Khaled Hosseini, New York Times best-selling author of the book The Kite Runner. How you doing, Gary? Khaled, how are you? Pretty good. Alright, so tell us about the book.
Alright, so the book is narrated by the main character, Amir. Starts off in 2002, but then quickly jumps back to the winter of 1975 when Amir's whole life would change. So Amir lived with his father, Baba, in Kabul, Afghanistan. He also lived with two servants, Ali and Hassan. Hassan, though, wasn't really a servant to Amir. He was more of a friend. They did everything together, from running up to the top of the hill outside their house, shooting Hassan's slingshot, and Hassan's personal favorite, reading books under the pomegranate tree. It would all change, though, around July 17th, 1975, when Afghanistan was invaded by the Soviets and changed to a republic. A couple days after that happened, Hassan and Amir were going up to the top of the hill when they were confronted by a big German boy named Asef. Asef was known for hating Hassan's people and known for beating up kids. So Hassan and Amir were pretty scared at the time. And right as Asef was about to beat up Amir, Hassan pulled out his slingshot equipped with a rock pointed directly at Asef's face. Asef was raged at the time but knew there was nothing he could do about it, so he just walked away saying something along the lines as, "This isn't over." A few weeks later was the annual kite flying tournament, and the tournament was all the kids from Kabul would go out, build their kites, and they would fly them, and they would try and cut each other's kites down. And as each kite got cut down, kids that were out of the tournament or kids that didn't participate at all would chase the kites, hence the name The Kite Runner, and use them as trophies. They're very big trophies in Kabul at the time. Well, Amir was pretty good at kite running. The year before, he took 4th place, and Hassan always was the one that actually chased the kites for him. This year was the first year Amir happened to actually win, and after he won, Hassan chased after his kite, yelling back at him, "For you, Amir," just repeatedly. After a while, Hassan hadn't came back yet, so Amir went looking for him. And as Amir went looking for him, he found him in an alley, cornered by Asef and 2 other friends. And scared, he didn't know what to do, so he just sat there and watched as Asef and the other 2 raped his friend. After he saw what happened, he ran, and later approached Hassan, still bloody, still with Amir's kite in his hand, acting like nothing had happened. And so, after a while, Amir was just ashamed of what he did, almost to the point where he couldn't even look at Hassan without thinking about it. So he went to his father and suggested getting new servants. Well, his father was enraged about that, so that didn't work. Then, when him and Hassan were up at the top of the hill, he tried to get Hassan to punch him in the face to get back at him for what he did, and Hassan refused. So, leaving no choice, Amir framed Hassan for stealing from Baba, and Hassan's father, Ali, was so embarrassed at what had happened, he decided to leave with Hassan, causing Amir and Baba to weep because they knew they would never see Ali and Hassan again. 5 years had passed, and things were just getting bad in Afghanistan with the Soviets, so Baba and Amir decided to flee, ended up in San Francisco, where Amir would end up getting married, and Baba's cancer continued to get worse, and he eventually died. After Baba's death, Amir received a phone call from a friend that he used to have in Kabul. His name was Rahim Khan. And Rahim Khan told Amir that he was seriously ill, and before he passed, he wanted to tell Amir about when he searched for Hassan, ended up finding him, and Hassan had told Rahim that he missed Amir and wanted to meet up with him again, which wasn't possible because Rahim would go on to tell him that Hassan had also gotten married and had a child, but Hassan's child's mother died when she was giving birth to Hassan's child, and Hassan would later be killed, leaving the child at an orphanage. Amir was pretty devastated, and he decided to travel back to Afghanistan and try and adopt Hassan's child. When he got to Afghanistan and attempted to adopt Hassan's son, they wouldn't give him a visa back to the U.S. So Hassan's son was pretty distraught about this and tried to commit suicide. He eventually recovered, jumping the story back to 2002 where it started, where Amir and Hassan's son were living back in San Francisco, and I'll end it there. I don't want to tell the viewers the ending.
Wow. No, those are some interesting characters and a great summary. Tell me, who was your favorite character?
That's a tough one. I would have to say Hassan, though, because he's the friend that's always there for you. Even after Amir betrays him, he won't betray Amir back because he is a strong warrior. That's why I named his son Sahrab. Sahrab is from my favorite story when I was a child. He is the son of a great warrior.
So, what kind of audience would you recommend read this book?
I would recommend this book for young adults. It's not a confusing book. It's a pretty easy read, and it has a strong message that is kind of hard for kids to find in high school today.
So, this was an interesting story. Why'd you decide to write it?
Well, I wrote the book. A lot of people think it was a recount of my own life, but that's not true. I just wanted to talk about my homeland. I also like to, Amir was similar to me. I like to portray some of my favorite things through him. Like when he travels back to Kabul and sees all the rubble and the beggars in chapter 20, he says a quote from the collection of a few of my favorite poems called the Poems of Hafez. But that wasn't the main message. The main message was to let people know about pre-Soviet Afghanistan through a compelling story.
Well, Howard, very compelling story you told me, and I'm just honored for you to have me here in your home and for you to tell me about your book.
Hey, thanks, Gary. It's an honor having me here.
Well, for all of you that haven't already read The Kite Runner, I'd suggest going out and buying it. Very good story, very good message. And this is Gary Suchowski.
Holiday City.
Back to you, Barbara.